I'm Maya Rios, 29, a graphic designer in Austin. After 5 years of silence, one voicemail pulled me home. Under the crucifix, my mother said, "Your work is shameful." Before I could answer, my sister Sabrina gripped my wrist and hauled me to the door. "You don't deserve to be here." 5 years earlier in Cedar Hollow, we sat at the oak table. Sabrina held Colton's hand. I brought a laptop and late bills. Mom leaned in. "Maya, we've got a problem. Colton owes $100,000. You're doing well. Wire it quietly. Family first." "Go to the police," I said. "This isn't safe." "Family handles family," she snapped. "Pay, or you're no daughter of mine." "Please," Sabrina whispered, "for the baby." She tugged her sleeve. A bruise showed. Dad looked away. "I won't fund a lie," I said. Mom's palm struck the table. "Then get out." Night met me at the door. On the porch, Dad pressed 60 crumpled tens into my hand. I drove west and started over. Austin rebuilt me in inches. Barista by day. At night I worked a wheezing laptop on a borrowed couch. One rainy shift, a nonprofit founder named Ivy heard me sketch on a receipt. "Show me." I opened my cracked phone. She nodded. "I need a rebrand." Word spread. Women clawing back their lives wanted design that whispered strength. I drew a small key, opening a bright door, and watched it travel. Months later, in a warehouse studio, I met Juno Park, an attorney for the wronged. Her cases and my pages braided into late nights. Then another voicemail. "Family meeting this weekend. Important." I knew better. I packed anyway. Cedar Hollow hadn't changed. Lemon cleaner, stiff smiles, portraits ending at my graduation. We ate in silence until Mom tapped her mug like a gavel. "No small talk," she said. "Colton's in trouble again. Another 100,000. Your agency can cover it." Sabrina arrived late with her toddler, Eli. When she stooped to grab a cracker, her sleeve slid back. A bruise bloomed along her forearm. "Family?" I asked. "Or cover up?" "Please," she murmured. "He'll change." Dad stared into his coffee. "No," I said. "Not hush money. Real help." Mom's hand struck the table. "This stays in the family. Pay or leave." I left. At a motel off Main, I called Juno. She answered on the first ring. "It's worse," I said. "He's hurting Sabrina and Eli." "If she allows it, document everything," Juno replied. "Photos, dates, we can move fast." A knock. Sabrina stood outside, eyes swollen, Eli asleep. I pulled them in. "It started small," she whispered. Shoves, apologies. Last week he shook Eli for crying. I asked permission. She nodded. I photographed every bruise, every faded fingerprint. We listed dates on motel notepads, while Juno stayed on speaker, stitching a plan. Ex parte protective order at dawn, temporary custody, a report 2 towns over where church eyes wouldn't follow. Morning hummed fluorescent at the sheriff's office. Sabrina swore her statement. The deputy stamped our photos. "Qualifies," he said. "We'll serve him today." By noon, Colton was cuffed at his bank desk. Charges stacked. My phone lit. "Mom," I hit record. "Where is your sister?" she hissed. "Bring her home. Fix this like last time. We keep our business inside these walls." I saved the file. The walls had confessed. The recording opened doors I couldn't. Juno filed it with the photos, dates, and a deputy's affidavit. Within a week, a judge granted a protective order. Temporary custody went to Sabrina, and visitation required supervision Colton never passed. The DA braided his debts and violence, extortion, assault, child endangerment. When bank cameras tied him to the men behind the loan, he pled. 3 years, state time. Mom called until the mailbox filled, then left messages about church shame. On Juno's advice, we filed a civil claim for aiding concealment. Depositions cracked the seal. Dad admitted he'd seen bruises and looked away. The award wasn't large, but it was public. Church friends drifted off. Sabrina signed her divorce without shaking. Eli's room turned sky blue, toy trucks marching the baseboard. Laughter replaced tiptoes. Therapy gave her spine new alloy. Her sketches returned. Ivy hired her to illustrate a safety guide, and I set the type so each page breathed. Back in Austin, my studio became the daylight room I used to imagine. Exposed brick, long tables, interns asking questions. Our key logo kept opening doors for women who needed stories framed as power, not pity. On a Dallas stage, a spotlight found me. The plaque felt heavy. In the crowd, Sabrina lifted Eli's hand to wave. I almost cried and didn't. Under string lights afterward, she said, "You didn't burn the house down, you opened a door." Here's what I know now. Love isn't hush money, and family isn't a locked room. If any of this is yours, call 1-800-799-7233 National Domestic Violence Hotline. Your voice matters. Begin today.